Hey everybody, what is going on? It is 7:58. Good to see you, it's your friend James Shaw. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning as we put a wrap on our listing presentation slash listing appointment week of listing month. We've spent all of the month of June going through the stages of the listing process, getting the lead, filling the pipeline. That was week one. Week two was getting it from pipeline to appointment, right? So how do you get them out of the pipeline and get in the house? Week three, that's right now, is all about the appointment itself. Today, we're about following up when you don't list it. You go on the appointment, they got other agents to interview, they want to think about it, sleep on it, pray on it, they want to do whatever, and you need a system to follow up because you've done all this work. You got the listing, you got the lead, then you got an appointment, and then you got in the house. Well, gosh darn it, you might as well get a listing too. We're going to make sure that we come up with good systems on following up. But before we do that, something good, Juan. Good morning.
Good morning, James. Thank you. Key West is a very special place for different reasons. One is it's a huge community that's very giving. And this coming Monday, I will be participating for the fifth time in this little event called Real Men Do Drag. So I'm gonna be doing drag, and no, I don't share the beer because my drag name is Juanita Bush. And I'm gonna give you all a sneak peek. This is what I'm gonna be wearing on stage.
I was going to ask about the shoes.
Yes. It's not the one, it's not the white one, spoiler alert. Don't tell anybody though. And I'm gonna put in the chat because Juanita loves support. So you guys can support with a virtual tip. I'll put the link in the chat. Thank you, James.
Thank you so much for sharing it, Juan. We always love hearing about it. Have a good time. Great shoes.
Thank you.
Janet, good morning.
Juan, honey, please don't fall off those. That would be a long way to go. I am so grateful, James, to the mindset work that we have been provided with through our company, from Mo Anderson, and most especially from the speakers and the books that you've brought us from Inspire and from your events. I've had a very challenging Monday, and I had a closing at 9 a.m. and it turned out my seller was actually in the hospital. And by the way, she had not cleared out her house, and we still needed to close. And if I had known Sunday, I wouldn't have slept, but I had slept, and I had started my morning with some nice stretching on the beach, looking at the sun, feeling good, because I have a morning routine of exercise and movement and the energy plan. I'm so grateful for that, because that day was a challenge. Getting people to help move her stuff out, had to get a van, get a storage place, and those things. And then I did a price reduction with a seller and some other things. And then I got really sad news about my brother's passing away over in California. And so it was not an optimum day. And I'm not talking about those things for sympathy or anything. I'm talking about how I was able to respond to things because of what you help us learn to do. And at the end of my day, I didn't really feel like talking on the phone, but my friend Crystal Berglund, who you said, Janet, you need to know this lady. And we became friends, and she called me, and I took that call, and she had a great story to tell me, and it made me so happy. So I had like a happiness, good energy sandwich around a bunch of crap. And I'm really grateful for everything that you encourage us in our beautiful community. So thank you very much.
Well, thanks for honoring them. Crystal's a great human being, and I love that you two are friends. We're obviously really sad about your brother and sending a lot of love and prayer and support your way. And I'm thankful that, bad things happen. They do. I'm not thankful that bad things happen, but I'm thankful that you have this space to be in, that when bad things happen, which they do to all of us, that we just have a way to get grounded and get centered and feel cared about and comforted and do the things we need to do to keep some momentum going as well. So Janet, all the best to you. Thank you so much for sharing this morning. Well, let's get after it today, because we are all in on listings. And the goal is for you to take as many as you possibly can to ramp up that inventory, because right now that's what you need. As many seller listings as you can possibly get. You can never have too many. And yet sometimes you go on the appointment and you walk away and you don't have it. Put in the chat, what is a reason you've heard at a listing appointment as to why they weren't ready to sign right then? Would you put that in the chat? Do they wanted to think about it? They had other agents to interview, or some of you have probably heard some pretty interesting things. And so we've got to get into a flow about how to follow up. And following up is not desperation, it's just you being professional. I mean, anytime you meet with someone in a sales environment, you expect some sort of follow up. And so I want to walk through kind of what is your follow up play, because I think it's broken into certain pieces. Certainly, some sort of follow up within 24 hours of the appointment, right? To thank them for letting you come by or whatever. And then that might determine are you doing a day or 2 days or 3 days after the appointment check in and real purposeful about that? Are you doing, with the one that might be a little bit longer out? Maybe you went on an appointment and they're not really an appointment, but you went anyway, but they're really 3 or 4 months out. Then what's that rhythm? Are you doing some sort of weekly check-in, sending some sort of value? And then sometimes you might even just have to reset the entire conversation and say, hey, I know that when we talked, maybe the timing wasn't right. What's changed since we met? Has anything changed since we met? So I want to hear today from a bunch of you about what is the follow-up system you run when you've gone on a listing appointment and yet did not walk away with a signed contract. Because Gary has said many times, I've heard Gary Keller say this for years, is that sometimes we don't need more lead gen, we need more lead follow-up. And gosh darn it, we might as well get the stuff we go on. Dean, you want to start us off? Good morning.
Hey, thanks for the opportunity, James. First thing, you're not going to get the listing, and you always try, and you try to close gently 3 times. You don't get it, set a follow-up appointment. All right, hey, listen, do you mind if I stop by on Thursday and just to see where your head is at and what's going on? And, maybe I could answer some questions, right? That's the first thing you want to do. And if they give you the secondary appointment, you've kind of made it. The second thing, if you don't get an appointment, is you have to call. I always call the next day, say, hey, thanks so much for your time. I usually phone a lot. I want to thank you so much for your time. We talked about a lot. I just want to make sure there was no confusion. I want to see if you had any questions whatsoever. That any questions thing is very old, but it often works to bring them into focus. Thanks.
All right, so leave the first appointment with some sort of scheduled time to check in,
Follow up.
whether it's a
Yes.
stop by or a call or something. I like it, Dean.
Yeah.
Thank you. Write that one down, everybody. Julie Hess, good morning.
Thank you. I would agree with Dean. I usually sit there. I'll just tell you guys, rule of thumb for me, if I walk out without it, I didn't get it. So then I go back and I think, while I'm sitting there, I can tell. And so outside of is there any reason why you wouldn't hire us? Like I really try to drill down to see what it is. But honestly, when I walk out, I'm like, I didn't get it. Now, James, there was something you said I wanted to share. Sometimes you are sitting there, and this happened to me last night. They're 3-4 months out, and yet it's a new build that they're going into. So I always say to them, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you think hiring me and you put me to work when I put the sign in the yard? Or do you think starting tomorrow, you may have questions for me on how the roadmap's going to be to get us to the day that we put the sign in the yard? Which one, what are you hiring me for? And then they'll say, well, we want to know this, this, and this. Great, hire me today, because I'm here with you for the next 3-4 months with let's get this painted and let's do this. And I'm going to build out this roadmap. So when the day that we put the sign in the yard, we've worked together. So I think a lot of times agents miss that. Like, if you're going to hire me and it's going to take 3 months, let's get the documents done today. And I'm going to help you every step of the way. You're not just hiring me to put a sign in the yard.
Did y'all get that? Write that one down. Julie Hess.
Yeah. And then
redeems herself this morning with a great answer.
Our MLS, you can just say when it's going active and you put that out there and you're good.
That's great. Sherry Lamb, good morning.
There we go. Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right. Well, I don't do listings. That is Maria Sims's job. But I give her listings because she and I, like I said a couple weeks ago, have been doing this so long that we have nurtured all our past clients. So most of my business in the past 5 years has been repeat business. And they come to me and go, okay, we're ready to sell. Upsize, downsize, whatever. So we go as a team. And I have also found going to people's houses that are my buyers, because I am a buyer's agent, and sitting in their house helps me a lot with really getting down to the nitty gritty of what they're doing, asking all the questions. But so Julie and I went on a listing appointment the other day. The gentleman thinks his house is worth a little more than we do. So I immediately, when we left, we were there for 3 hours, sent him a text, thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. And then immediately followed up with him because he doesn't want to buy until he doesn't want to sell until he finds his new house. And we are finding that a lot. People don't want to be homeless. They don't want to live with mom and dad. So going out this afternoon with him. He's buying in the $2 million range, which is kind of fun. So it's a team effort. And I think Julie said it's not always immediately. They're going to sign with us at some point because they're just going to. And so, but it's taking it and really finding out their needs and following up with that. I don't know if that made
Find out
sense.
their needs and follow up with that. Sherry, thank you so much. Great answer. Carmen, good morning.
Good morning from Columbia, South Carolina. I just had this happen a couple days ago. I had a neighbor. She went into an assisted living home, and I went over there to check in and see what was happening with the home. And they have hired a contractor who's a family friend who they trust to do a lot of the decisions for the house. And I happen to actually know him as well. I spoke to him, and he shared that the family was, or the sister executor was going with another agent, and it was going to be listed, probably sometime this summer. So he said he would mention that I came by. He spoke, they spoke, and they were definitely going with the other agent. And I continued to stay in touch. I check in all the time, go see the house. He's showing me the work. I gave him some suggestions for some things, and then he reached out to me the other day if I wanted to come and see it. And I did, walk through, shared how great it looked. He said it would be ready soon. And he said, the reason I'm also calling you is the other agent has never followed up. They never actually signed with them. And now they want to interview me.
Of
So
course.
I'm going over there today.
Yeah, good for you. Sometimes your best follow-up is the other agent doesn't.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
great job to stay in touch. Go ahead, Carmen.
One more thing, they're having an estate sale. So before he spoke to the person, I said, can I send you make a Canva invite so you can share that, and sent that over to him in a couple of minutes. So he had that too. So
That is the difference
value.
between ordinary and extraordinary, which we talk about all the time, right? The difference is just extra. What's that little extra thing you can do to stand out? And sometimes that's all it takes. Carmen, thank you. Tyler, good morning.
Good morning, James. Going back to what Julie S. had said, one of the things that I tackle with individuals who are several months out is many people have a misunderstanding of when it's time to hire a real estate professional to represent you. And in the state of Georgia, right here on this line 87, it says, probably misquoting that, but right down here it says you do enable me to negotiate on your behalf or not. Well, that doesn't just start with the negotiating of the price of the house. I can also help you in getting bids for contractors, for repainting, for carpet cleaning, things like that, and negotiate to get you the best price. And only if you hire me today and put me to work now. Well, do you think that would be a benefit for you to have someone else that can get quotes and negotiate so you get the best price on the things you're going to do anyway to get your home ready to go on the market in the next 3 months? And then from there, I put them on searches for, like we said before, for homes that sell in their area in the MLS. And depending on their needs, if they're looking for another house, also a search in KW Command to look for homes that are coming on the market. Because there's nothing that motivates people to shorten their timeline like finding the home that they want to move into.
It's really good, Tyler. I like that a lot. And it reminds me of something Gene Jarman brought up this week, which is going and working backwards. Like, here's when they want to move. And then we look at days, from contract to close, 30 days, 45 days, whatever it is in your area. And then days on market, maybe it's 60 days. Like, sometimes that person needs to get listed before they think, before they think they do. And then you add on the other stuff they might need to do and how you can help them. Now might be the right time to sign, even though they think they have 2 or 3 months. Tyler, thank you, friend. Appreciate it. Jack Smith, beautiful luxury downtown St. Pete. Hello. Jack Smith,
I'm
there
here,
you go.
James. I'm just trying to get off the beginning the relationship. And I think you come forward, every agent is going to have their things that they do. But if you come forward with things a lot of different, I have to tell you, boxes have changed how we've done business. I know it's going to sound really weird, but we offer all the services right up front that we do. And all I do is simply say, I know that you're going to find out that every agent you think you're going to interview is going to be the same, but we're not. Try and set yourself apart. Follow-up is the most important thing for us. We follow up on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday with clients, no matter what the story is. We send thank you notes. We bring chocolates. We bring flowers. If you come from contribution and be yourself and not worry about what anybody else is, pretend you're the only agent that's out there. And all you have to do is serve them and develop the relationship as you have taught us from the very, very beginning. Because the relationships have changed our lives. Thank you, James, for all you do for all of us.
Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it so much. Great answer. Pat, good morning.
Good morning. So I'm an OG. I live in an OG neighborhood, and I have lots of people that I work with who've been in their homes for a long time. I'm also in Pennsylvania like Julie Hess, and I am just like Julie Hess, that, we're going to start to work for you now. And that is exactly what I have done recently. Some of the people that I work with have been in their home for decades, and some of them are alone. I have one right now alone. So let's get your house ready. And I have a client right now, she bought and she moved in yesterday, actually in my neighborhood. And now we're going to put her house on the market. It's already a listing contract. And she said the best words to me when I talked to her about, what it takes to get your house sold. And I can talk about the contract. She said, that would be great because when I'm really busy, the paperwork will be already done. Boom. So I've also learned over time that there's a time for and a place for everything. So I heard Jack talk about communication and the text message, the email, the phone call. We need to know when to do which of those. So yesterday on the move day, it was a text message. Hope it's going well. And hours later, yeah, these movers are great. Oh, and by the way, we have resources. I gave her a second mover who did the move for $3,000 less.
See,
I'm like, and she does, I mean, first of all, she's a lovely person. Oh, my clients are lovely. Some are lovelier than others. And it warms my heart because so many times she'll say to me, because she's been widowed for 7 years, lived in the house for 41, and doesn't know how to program a garage door opener. We do. So she says to me often, and you know what? I know when I have a question, you're just around the corner. Now I know some people are going, well, I don't want them calling me all the time. I don't mind them calling me all the
yeah.
time.
All right.
Go right ahead, baby.
Thank you, Pat. Appreciate your perspective always. Nicoy Dunbar, good morning.
Good morning. How are you from
I'm doing
Houston,
great.
Texas? So when I go on listing interviews and they typically don't sign or they kind of say they have to think about it, I go back to the old corporate ways where you send a thank you letter. So I send a marketing thank you card. And the last couple that I had, the wife talked about loving cats and the husband always talked about loving coffee. So I sent a marketing card with a cat holding a coffee mug and it said like, thanks a latte or something like that. And I got hired.
The way you get hired is you pay attention, right, Nicoy? You just pay attention and they're going to give you the clues. I think Jenny told us a story a couple weeks ago about she got the listing because she remembered the dog's name. Nicoy just told you pay attention and follow up. Thank you. Vicki DeLuca, good morning.
Sorry, that mute button, I apologize. So everything everyone else has said, and it truly is asking the right questions when you're sitting in front of them, showing that you care, getting to their motivation and whatever their situation, whether it's financial, finding a home, unsure about the market, reassure them that you're here the entire way. The follow-up is key, but by following up, finding out why they're holding back, what their most important things are, and really listening and then providing that value every time you reach out and developing that relationship, show them that you have empathy and you care and you will stand out just like everyone else was saying.
Thank you. Jessica, good morning.
talking about a listing the other day, and the people were going to hold off, and they were going to hold off because their credit stinks, and it stinks because of medical issues they had. So I encouraged the person on my team that went on that listing appointment to talk to them further, because their goal was to move to the Cape. We had an agent referral that came from the Cape to us. And I said, listen, reach out to them because, sorry, we're traveling for a college tour to New Hampshire. Anyways, so I said to that agent to reach back out to the referring agent and say, hey, you know, these people might not be ready to buy right now, but they could possibly rent once their house is sold. They could also pay off that debt that they have. So they could still make their dreams come true with a move, so that they had a less stress-free life, less debt on their plate, and maybe fix their credit so they could buy in a year. And they were worried that, you know, the agent would be upset because they wouldn't be able to buy. I said, listen, they're not going to be able to buy anyway. So the right thing to do by the client is paint a picture for them on how they can make it happen. But I think being willing to have those candid conversations and dig deeper, and being willing to have just the strength to ask those questions and not feel like you're prying, but being a consultant that's coming from care and candor with your heart is really crucial, especially in this market right now, because I think people don't want to do that. And that makes you the consultant of choice when you start doing that, because people know you're not coming from your pocket, but you're trying to protect theirs. So go back to those people you've been working with that held off because maybe their credit wasn't good, or that held off because something changed, because maybe medically something changed, because they may still be able to do something. You just may need to dig a little deeper and figure out how you can be the solution to their problem, rather than just, you know, worrying about a commission for yourself. Worry about how to solve their problem more, and you'll always be their resource.
I mean, that was great. It's about listening, it's about sharing their options, and it's about adding value. That was the lesson from today. Everybody, that puts a wrap on listing appointment week. Next week is all about managing the listing and getting it under contract. What does it look like for your weekly check-ins right now? Because homes might be sitting on the market a little bit longer. How do you know when to time the price reduction? Y'all are getting on Jess. Her seatbelt's on, friends. Her seatbelt is on. So we got a lot of people in the chat. Woof! Anyway, so next week we've got all that stuff about managing the listing and understanding those expectations during that part of the time together. So we'll be back on Monday. Thanks for being here. You got your inspiration. Go put in the perspiration. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, James.
Bye,
Great
James.
weekend,
Thank
guys.
you.